Hey everybody, I'm Lara Trump coming to you from Studio 45 at Trump Tower in New York City. It's official, President Trump announced his candidacy for re-election. And judging from his announcement rally, support for President Trump's winning agenda is growing broader than ever. Joining me to discuss support for the Trump 2020 candidacy is a former governor of Arkansas and the host of Mike Huckabee Today on TBN, Mike Huckabee. Governor, thank you so much for joining us.
It is so nice to be back. Thank you.
And you're here in studio, and we love it.
I do too, but man, what a great opening to the presidential re-election bid.
Well, we're very excited about it. So I actually want to take a look at the massive rally that we had not too long ago for the president. Let's take a look.
We're going to keep on fighting for every man and woman and child all across this land. With every ounce of heart and might and sweat and soul, we're going to keep making America great again. And then we will indeed keep America great. And that is why tonight I stand before you to officially launch my campaign for a second term as President of the United States. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we heard it there from the man. It was a great rally and really quite a moment, I think, for the country. What did you think of things?
Well, first of all, look at the crowd.
Yeah.
No one ever in the history of the United States who announced re-election bid has ever had anything like that in terms of just sheer crowd appreciation. Barack Obama, in his re-election in 2012, had around 12,000 people. You had people camped out for 48, 72 hours. I can't even get my arms around that. I love the president, but I got to tell you, there's no way I'm camping out. That just isn't going to happen. But it shows you, it's not just that people support the president, it shows you the depth of their support.
Yeah.
There's nothing that is going to shake it. The fake news for now almost 3 consecutive years, the campaign plus the 2 years in office, have done nothing but try to take his support away from him, and it's only grown stronger.
Yeah, I think it certainly has galvanized people when it comes to his support. Now, there was another moment that prompted a huge reaction from the crowd. I want to take a look at this and see what you think.
A woman who has been so good, so talented, so wonderful, and we're sort of going to be losing her. I have a feeling she's going to be running for a certain gubernatorial position. But a woman who's a special woman and her father, by the way, he's out there fighting for us all the time. Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Was that possibly one of your proudest moments as a dad?
Truly it was. I mean, to have the President of the United States in front of the world to say those kind of things about one's daughter, I mean, that you cannot even begin to process how really powerful that is. And I want to tell you something, Laura, as a dad, there's no way I can express how much I appreciate the President for the manner in which he has treated my daughter over these 3 years during the campaign as well as in the White House. She may have spent as much time with him day in and day out as any staff member, just by the nature of her job.
Absolutely.
Her love and loyalty for him is as great today as it ever was or could be. And as I said to people, because they said, well, what's the real reason she's leaving? As if there's some nefarious. I said, there's 3 reasons. Scarlett, Huck, and George. That's it.
Yeah.
She loves this job. She hates to leave it. But her loyalty and love for this president does not end with her government employment. It will continue. But I was also going to say that as a dad, I could not be more grateful for the manner in which he has treated my daughter.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I want people to know that, because the press sometimes tries to present the president in some way that is utterly unfair.
Yes.
And for those of us who know him, who've been around him, for me, not as much as obviously Sarah, and certainly not as much as you, but it's not just unfair, it's blatantly, disgustingly untrue.
It's totally false. Well, I've seen their relationship over, as you're saying, the past 3 years, and it's a very reciprocal relationship, and they both really respect one another and really care for one another. And I know whatever Sarah decides to do, she will have the support of our whole family, including the president.
Well, the president's already kind of pushed her out of the nest and said she's going to go run for governor.
He thinks she's going to be the governor of Arkansas next.
I don't know what she's going to do. She doesn't either, because, I mean, honestly, she has not come up for air in 3 years. She's going to spend some time with the family and the kids, get them enrolled in school. She may do it. If she does, think about how cool it would be that she's the first governor in Arkansas history that won't have to have a sort of a look-see tour of the governor's mansion, because she grew up there. She can give them the tour.
She'll know all about it. I know. Well, we wish her so much luck.
Thank you.
And you did a great job with her, as I'm sure you know, and she's got so many fans out there, especially in our audience. Now, I want to turn a little bit and talk about what we know is coming up. We've got this campaign season has officially started. But as we see support, I think, for the president grow more in the conservative party and with independents, don't you think, Governor, that it makes the radical Democrats look even crazier than we all thought they were in the first place?
Well, there's no doubt. And the first debate was indicative of what I call the left-wing auction. Everyone is trying to outbid each other to be the most far-left loon that they can possibly be. And they're advocating things that smart people, I'm talking people with at least double-digit IQ, know better. You can't provide all this free stuff and salvage an economy and have any jobs left. You can't have open borders and have a country. You can't have a dysfunctional Congress and ever pass health care, transportation bills, things that the American people want and need. And if we undo the things the president has done in tax reform, regulatory reform, we're going to go right back up to those sky-high unemployment numbers rather than the record unemployment numbers, especially for women, Hispanics, African Americans, and others who have historically been held back by liberal policies. They've been unleashed by the policies of this president. And I'm just convinced that, Americans may have their party affiliations and they may have their own personality quirks and likes and dislikes about something the president tweets. I get that. But at the end of the day, they sit around their kitchen table and ask themselves, are we better off under this president than we were when those guys were in power? Yes. And these guys that want to be in power are so much more way to the left of anyone who has ever been a Democrat.
Oh, absolutely. And we saw it on stage. And the answer, apparently, when you don't know the answer to a question, is just to start speaking in Spanish.
Why not? Yeah.
As we saw. Now, they do have a long and very painful road ahead of the American people in order to choose their nominee on the Democrat side. Let's take a look at something.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Chuck.
How you doing?
Good. I don't think we should conduct foreign policy in our bathrobe at 5 in the morning.
This president and his chicken hawk cabinet.
I believe in reproductive justice.
En nuestra democracia. Cada votante necesitamos.
Do you have a plan to deal with Mitch McConnell?
I do.
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
How, by the way? If the control room could turn off the mics of our previous moderators, we will.
I think it's the prior moderator.
We prepared for everything.
Guess what, guys?
We did not prepare for
We are going to take a quick break.
Okay. Well, there they are. How out of touch with real Americans do you think that these people have gotten?
In watching the first debate, the person I thought who did the most was the NBC technician who messed up the audio and forced them into a break, because that was the most pleasant moment of the evening.
Well, it really
it's when
was.
they went into a break and we didn't have to listen to these folks from the clown car scream at each other. It was truly a tough moment.
Yeah, the whole thing I feel like was tough to watch. All right, Governor, so not only did they give us one night of the clown show, we had to endure a second night of the debates. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
One moment.
Just trust us on this.
We're going to get to everybody, I promise. Candidates, please.
I'm so sorry. We will let all of you speak. Senator Gillibrand.
Yeah, so no, it's my turn.
I'm going to hold you to 30.
Look, the old way.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country.
It's time to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans. Here's the solution. Pass the torch. Pass the torch to the generation.
I'm still holding on to that torch.
Now, do we think that there's any room in this very radical party for Joe Biden?
Which Joe Biden? The 1970s, the 80s, the 90s?
It's a good
Which
question.
version? Because he's like a chameleon. He's always changing and moving. But the answer is ultimately there probably isn't, because Joe Biden has represented, frankly, a Democratic Party that wasn't that far off
Right.
the one we have now. This Democratic Party, let's just put it this way, the cheese is way off the cracker. And I think it's going to have to either come back to some sense of reality, but Biden seems to be taking the bait, going right off the cliff with the rest of them, just like the other sheep.
Yep. The reality is, listen, we obviously have a long campaign season ahead of us, and we're going to hear a lot. We're going to hear a lot from the Democrats, a lot from the media. But I think what, at the end of the day, is going to resonate with people is what you're just saying. It's how much better off they are in this country. Don't you think that the great economy, the jobs coming back to this country, are really going to count at the end of the day, rather than these crazy left policies? I just don't know. How are the Democrats arguing against that? What's their answer?
Well, even in every aspect of the economy, the president has a winning record.
Right.
In every aspect of jobs, he has a winning record, especially when it comes to, for the first time in 40 years, people's wages are up.
Right.
And I'm talking about people at the bottom, people in the middle. They're seeing wage increases, which had been stagnant for 40 years. That's incredibly important. But we've also seen a vast improvement in the manner in which we're handling foreign affairs.
Right.
A president who unapologetically says, my job is to take care of America. It's not to make China better. It's not to make Mexico or Canada or Europe better.
Right.
It's to make America better. People can say what they want to, but deep down throughout the heartland of this country, we've been longing for a president who thought about America first.
A fighter.
And that's what he is, and that's what he has delivered. It's not been 2 years of promising, and eventually we're going to get there.
Right.
And if he had a Congress that would work with him, if he had a Congress that had the courage he has, so it's important to elect this president again, but it's also important to move Nancy Pelosi out of that speaker's chair.
Absolutely.
And to get some more courageous president-supporting members of Congress, both in the House and Senate. There's some who need to go, and even some Republicans. We need to wave bye-bye to them, and get some folks who will come and help this president get the job done that he has already started and been successful at.
Well, we certainly know that there is a long road ahead for the campaign on both sides, but we appreciate so much, Governor Huckabee, what you do every day. You're out there fighting for this country, speaking up on behalf of this president, and we couldn't be prouder to have you on our team and to have your daughter having been such a huge part of the Trump team.
I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate what the president's doing. I appreciate what the family has sacrificed to help him do, and you can rest assured that it's not just Sarah, but the rest of the family will do all we can to make sure that in January of 2021, it's his hand on the Bible, taking the oath once again.
We like that. Well, thank you for being with us today.
Great to be with you.
Support for President Trump's candidacy in 2020 is growing broadly, but the fight against the radical Democrats has only just begun. That's the real news for today. I'm Laura Trump from Studio 45 at Trump Tower in New York City. Thanks for joining us, everybody.